Om Shanti. Baba comes to teach us about developing the attitude of disinterest, and yet Baba doesn't say to leave our family or responsibilities, but to maintain the balance, take the middle path, not to get too trapped in the external world and its show. So don't leave anything, and yet don't get entangled in anything. So in every Murli, Baba shares with us how to attain that. Today Baba has spoken about the vices as thorns and how they prick and give sorrow. The deities did not have these vices, these thorns in their lives, and so they only gave happiness to each other. But at the end of the Iron Age, everyone gives each other sorrow, because each of us still has those traces of the vices. So who is a true effort maker? A true effort maker is one who removes all the thorns and develops attitude of disinterest. So this is all that Baba has shared with us in today's Murli. We now listen to Baba's elevated versions of 26th October 2021. Sweet children, the main heading, Sweet children, the one whom you have been praising up to now is in front of you, and you should therefore constantly dance in happiness and not experience sorrow about anything. Yesterday also Baba had spoken about how the omens of Jupiter are over us now. Previously it was the omens of Saturn or Rahu, but the greatest of course is the omens of Jupiter. And what happens when those omens are over us? There's only prosperity, there's only fulfillment and attainment. So in today's Murli also Baba says, Sweet children, the one whom you have been praising up to now is in front of you, and you should therefore constantly dance in happiness and not experience sorrow about anything. The question: what will the effort-making children definitely check in their hearts? What will the effort-making children definitely check in their hearts? The answer: such effort-making children will definitely check whether there is still any large or small thorn in oneself, the soul. The thorn of lust is the sharpest of all. When there's a very sharp thorn, the minute it pricks, immediately one starts to bleed. So the thorn of lust is also that sharp. The thorn of anger is also very bad. Deities never become angry. Therefore, sweet children, if there are any thorns inside you, remove them. Do not cause yourself a loss. If any thorn remains inside the body, then it constantly causes discomfort, it becomes difficult to walk. So let there not be any thorns inside the soul. Don't cause yourself a loss. The song: You are the mother and father. Om Shanti. You sweetest spiritual children heard the praise of the Father. There they continue to sing this on the path of bhakti, whereas here you are receiving the inheritance from that Baba practically. You know that Baba is making Bharat into heaven through us. You know that Baba is making Bharat into heaven through us. Those through whom he is making it into that will definitely become the masters of the line of happiness. You children should experience a lot of happiness. The praise of Baba is infinite and we are receiving our inheritance from him. There are now the omens of Jupiter, not just over you children, but over the whole world. And why does Baba say that? It's because the world is transforming, and this is why the omens of Jupiter are not only over us, but over the whole world. As Baba has often said, the more you ascend, then others will also ascend because of you. Only you Brahmins know this. There are the omens of Jupiter over Bharat in particular and the world in general, because you are now becoming 16 celestial degrees full. The entire world is becoming complete and perfect because of us. At this time, you have no degrees left. You children should have a lot of happiness. There is a lot of happiness here, but what happens once you leave the class or you leave Baba's home? It shouldn't be that you have happiness just here, but as soon as you go outside, it disappears. That too should be your effort. We come to Madhavan, of course, there's a lot of happiness. We share a lot of good experiences of the bhattis, etc. But let that be maintained. It shouldn't just be limited to Madhavan. At this time, you have no degrees left. The one whose praise you've been singing is now in front of you now, personally in front of you. Baba explains that 5,000 years ago too, he had gone away, having given you the kingdom. Baba is reminding us of that. 5,000 years ago as well, Baba went away having given you the kingdom. You can now see that slowly and slowly everyone will continue to call out, because sorrow will increase in the world, and before the end it has to go beyond limits, it has to go to the extremes, and then there will be the end. All your slogans will emerge. Baba's children continue to create new slogans of knowledge. For instance, some people say there should be one religion, one kingdom and one language. So it is souls that say this. We want that kingdom of Ram. We want one kingdom, one religion, one language. So people of Bharat say, remind us of how all of this used to exist in the Golden Age. It is souls that say this. The soul knows that there truly was one kingdom of deities in Bharat. Baba, on the last Sunday Murli, the Avyakt Murli we heard on 23rd, was especially about this. One religion, one kingdom being established, and first we have to establish it within ourselves. You continue to spread this fragrance. According to the plan of drama, the signs of war are also just in front of you. This is nothing new. So these things, these aspects are nothing new. Bharat definitely has to become 16 celestial degrees full. You know that you are becoming 16 celestial degrees full with the power of this yoga. It is said, how will you become complete with 16 celestial degrees? It is said, make a donation and the eclipse of omens will be removed. The eclipse over the moon, the lunar eclipse, only happens when it starts after the moon has become complete. So the Father also says, donate your vices and defects. This is the kingdom of Ravan, isn't it? The Father comes and liberates you from it. The vice of lust is the greatest defect. You became body conscious. That is the biggest bad omen. You now have to become soul conscious. You have to shed the consciousness of bodies. To see myself as that body, that consciousness has to go. Only you children understand these matters. The world does not understand them. When Bharat was 16 celestial degrees full, it was the kingdom of perfect deities. So what do we have at that time? It was the kingdom. When it was the kingdom of Lakshmi Narayan, Bharat was heaven. Baba is reminding us of the new world, so that we can detach our intellect from the old world. Bharat was heaven at that time, but it's now been eclipsed by the 5 vices. And how can we remove this eclipse? This is why the Father says, make a donation and the omens of the eclipse will be removed. It is this vice of lust that makes you fall. Therefore, the Father says, donate this, and you will become 16 celestial degrees full. If you don't donate this vice of lust, what will happen? Then you won't become that. It's a very clear system. If you donate, you will become 16 celestial degrees full. If you don't donate, lust, you won't become that. Souls have received their own respective paths. It is in your intellects how great are the paths that you souls have. The paths, each of our paths in the drama is all fixed. So if someone does not believe in it, then we have to just accept that yes, maybe that soul's role, that power is limited. And so they will not accept the full understanding of the cycle. You claim your fortune of the kingdom of the world. This is an unlimited drama, and there are many actors. The first class actors are Lakshmi Narayan. Lakshmi Narayan have the number 1 parts. Vishnu becomes Brahma and Saraswati, and then Brahma and Saraswati become Vishnu. How they go around the cycle of 84 births is all in your intellects. We know the entire story of the true Satyanarayan, the true Narayan. We know how we've taken 84 births around the cycle. Business people keep their account books and they always draw a swastika on them. That too is a symbol of the discus of self-realization. The business people worship Ganesh. So they're starting a new account book, they're starting a new year, auditing year, and so they invoke Ganesh. But this is the unlimited account book. We are now starting the cycle again anew. There are 4 parts in the swastika. Similarly, in Jagannath Puri, they have a pot of rice which splits into 4 equal parts when the rice is cooked. In that temple, they only offer the bhog of rice. But who is teaching you now? So we have these 4 parts of the cycle, the swastika, the Sudarshan Chakra. So who has taught you children all this? The most beloved Father has come and become your servant and is serving you. This is a matter of great honor that our most beloved Father has come and become our servant to look after us, to serve us. People say that souls are immune to the effect of action. However, you children know that you souls have parts of 84 births recorded in you. There is the difference of day and night. between that and saying that souls are immune to the effect of action. So if we don't have, it would lead to so many things. For the soul to be immune to the effect of action means then the soul does not take rebirth, and so then the cycle also would not exist. So it is not just a simple sentence. The souls cannot be just immune to the effect of action. Only when someone sits and understands all of this for a month or a month and a half will these points sit in his intellect. Day by day, many points continue to emerge. However many times you read the Murli, you will always find something new. So Baba describes knowledge as musk. How many of you have seen musk? Raise your hands. So just a few. Shilabanji says that she's seen a musk. One ascetic had brought that. It's very small, it's like a little ball. It's always found in the navel of a deer, and it was very, very fragrant. They had the example of the deer who was able to detect the fragrance of musk but not able to know where it was. It was all the time in the navel, in its navel. So there's so much fragrance in knowledge, we try to look for it externally, but it's always within us. There is no essence in the scriptures in comparison. So sometimes Baba says knowledge is like butter and bhakti or the scriptures are like buttermilk. So there's so much difference. Baba now says, remove all of that from your intellects. Remove all your understanding of the scriptures from your intellect. I alone am the ocean of knowledge. When you have firm faith, you understand that all of that truly is the path of salvation, of devotion. So we have done all of that bhakti in order to receive knowledge. There's no need to continue with that now. Only the Supreme Father, Supreme Soul comes while you are degraded and grants you salvation. You also have to show this clearly in the picture of the ladder. When the path of devotion begins, the kingdom of Ravan also begins. The episode of the Gita is now being repeated. What is the confluence age? It is the age of the Gita. When Shiva Baba comes, this is why we say we have the birth of Gita after the birth of Shiva. This episode of the Gita is unfolding. So the episode of the Gita is now being repeated. The Father says, I come every cycle at the confluence age of the cycle. They have then said that he incarnates as the fish and as a crocodile. They speak of 24 incarnations. Baba says, you now have the omens of Jupiter over you. I made you into the masters of heaven. Ravan then puts the bad omens of an eclipse over you. The Father has now come once again to make you into masters of heaven. Therefore you should not cause yourself a loss. How can we become the master of heaven if we continue to have this eclipse over us? You must not cause yourself a loss. Business people always keep their accounts in good order. Those business people who keep running into loss or incurring loss are called those with no common sense. They don't know how to expand on their business and increase their income. That one is the greatest businessman. Scarcely anyone does this business with him. This is an imperishable business. For all other businesses are going to turn to dust. Baba now develops our attitude of disinterest, because in the Lokik businesses of the present time there's so much deceit and corruption, so we have to detach ourselves from all of that. You are now doing a true business. The Father is the unlimited business person, the jewel merchant. He is also called the ocean of knowledge. Just look at how many people come to the exhibitions. Hardly anyone would come to a center. When people in the past used to go to see in the Baba's exhibitions, it used to be just for a day or half a day, obviously. But then hardly anyone out of all of those who have seen the exhibition would come to a center. Bharat is very large. You have to go everywhere. We didn't have that many centers when Baba spoke this Murli in the 60s. So Bharat is very large. You have to go everywhere. The Ganges of water doesn't flow everywhere in Bharat. You also have to explain that the river Ganges is not the purifier. So we don't have rivers in all places. So it's just symbolic of how you have to go to different places. The Ganges of water will not flow everywhere. You have to explain that the river Ganges is not the purifier. You, Ganges of knowledge, have to go there. You continue to hold exhibitions and fairs everywhere. So in the 60s, when these inventions first were created of the exhibitions and the fairs, Baba was very enthusiastic and happy about it, and so he would inspire everyone to hold these exhibitions often, day by day. Very good pictures will continue to be made. The pictures should be so beautiful that as soon as people see them, they experience happiness and feel that whatever you're explaining is right. The kingdom of Lakshmi Narayan is being established. The Brahmin religion is being established. It is you Brahmins who then become deities. You are now making effort. Then ask your hearts, do I have any small or large thorn inside me? Do I have the thorn of lust in me? Even a tiny thorn of anger is very bad. The deities never become angry. It has been portrayed that destruction took place when Shankar opened his third eye. In the story they show that they disturbed Shankar's tapasya, and so he opens his third eye, and just incinerates that person in front of him. But this is just a false allegation made about Shankar. Would he have that much anger in him that he would get upset if someone disturbed his tapasya? No. Destruction has to take place. How could Shankar have a snake, etc. in the subtle region? So they show such strange symbols around Shankar. And he has a neck wrapped around his neck, etc., etc. There is no land there for snakes, etc. to emerge from. So how could Shankar have a snake in the subtle region? There is no land there for snakes to emerge from. Snakes would not wander around the sky. There are no gardens or snakes, etc. in the subtle region or the incorporeal world. All of those things exist here. And of course, both are regions of light. Radha Gulzara, of course, was the first person who had the vision of the subtle region, and so she was often asked questions about it. And Radha Gulzara would say that you know how much light is spread when there is one full moon in the sky. So if you were to have 1,000 moons, imagine how much light there would be. So that's the kind of light, that's the amount or intensity of light in the subtle region. Very, very white moonlight. And what is the light of the the Supreme Abode? That, of course, is golden red light. So you can now see how Baba is creating a garden for you. So we now know that heaven and hell both exist here itself. At this time human beings are like thorns, and this is why this place is called a forest of thorns. The golden age is a garden of flowers. You can see how Baba is creating a garden. He's making you most beautiful. He makes all of you beautiful. The golden age will be that beautiful, a garden. He himself is ever beautiful. He makes all of you brides, you children, beautiful. Ravan had made you completely ugly. Your children should now have the happiness that there are the omens of Jupiter over you. Your children should now have the happiness that there are the omens of Jupiter over you. Is there anyone sitting here who would say that they don't have the omens of Jupiter over them? Those who have become Brahmins have these omens of Jupiter. So with a good intellect, we will always have the omens of Jupiter over us. So it's all a question of the intellect. If the intellect is elevated, then we have the omens of Jupiter, and a bad intellect would give us the omens of Saturn, the omens of Rahu. So your children should now have the happiness that there are the omens of Jupiter over you. What benefit would there be if you had happiness for half the time and sorrow for the other half? No, in reality, those who come from the beginning, you have happiness for 3/4 of the time. So even in our last birth, no one would say that we have so much sorrow. It's a majority of the cycle that is happiness for us. So even at the end of time, end of the Iron Age, in severe circumstances, Baba will still feed his children dal and roti. And of course, once we leave the bodies, we'll all continue to experience happiness. So there's nothing really lacking for us Brahmin children. This drama is predestined. Many people ask, why was such a drama created? If we have to come down the ladder, so what's the point of ascending? So they ask all strange questions. Has this drama been created for us to descend? So there's no reason for you to ask this question of why. At the time it was created, it is eternal. It wasn't created at all. So you can't ask this question of why was it created. This is eternal. No one creates it or destroys it. If you know exactly who created it, we could go and blame them. People go and blame God, but He too hasn't created it. God too has a part in this drama, so it's no one's fault actually. It's not even Shankar's fault that destruction takes place through that soul. So you can issue a case against drama, but that's not possible, is there? So it is eternal. So the question of why it was created cannot arise. These questions cannot arise about the drama. This is the original, eternal, predestined drama. That which is predestined is taking place. No one can receive eternal liberation. Whatever has been created is just unfolding, so nothing new can be created now. No one can receive eternal liberation. That which is predestined is taking place. This is the eternal world that has been continuing and will continue. This cycle will continue to turn. Annihilation never takes place. Baba is making the world new, but how much margin is there in that? There's so much difference between the present world and the future world. Baba is making the world new, but how much margin is there in that? It is when people become impure and unhappy that they call out to Baba. Baba comes and makes everyone's body like the kalpa tree, that is, Baba comes and makes it immortal. When you souls become pure, you receive pure bodies. Baba makes you eternal, He makes you ever healthy for half the cycle. That is, you will not experience untimely death for half the cycle. You conquer death. Your children have to make a lot of effort. Baba also increases our intoxication. He reminds us of what He is making us into. But then also reminds us that you have to make effort to attain that. Nothing can happen just for free or without any effort. The higher the status you claim, the better it is. Each one has to make effort to earn a greater income. People make so much effort just to earn some money in the world. Those who gather wood say that if they gathered a lot more wood, they would earn a lot more. Each soul wants to earn the most income that they can, but some earn by cheating. So lies and deceit and corruption, all of that is there, through which some souls earn. There is no sorrow there like that in the Golden Age. There is no possibility of earning anything through lies or deceit. And if anyone does engage in bad activity and lies or deceives others to earn an income, then that income will never give them happiness or comfort. Each one has to make effort to earn a greater income. Those who gather wood say that if they gathered a lot more wood, they would earn a lot more. But some earn by cheating. There's no sorrow there like that. Baba often gives us the example of Narad. You are now claiming such a great inheritance from the Father. You should examine yourself to see whether you are worthy of going to heaven. So this is the example of Narad. We have the stories of the path of bhakti, the blessings of the elders there. You're claiming a great inheritance from the Father. You should examine yourself to see whether you're worthy of going to heaven. That is the example of Narad. They have written many things in the scriptures. Now put an end to all those pilgrimages, etc. There is also the song. Everyone's listening carefully, isn't it? No one has closed their eyes and no one's dozing off. So everyone sit alert and listen carefully. The Father is now teaching you such a good pilgrimage. There's no difficulty in this. The Father simply says, constantly remember me alone and your sins will be absolved. I tell you a very good method. Children, are you listening? This is my chariot that I have taken on loan. This Father has so much happiness that I have given my body to the Father on loan, and he is making me into the master of the world. Its name is Bhagirath, that is the lucky chariot. You know that bombs, etc. are being manufactured. There will be fire. They make an effigy of Ravan and they fill it with explosives in order to kill him. Here there's no question of killing Ravan. On the other hand, there is the killing of Ravan, and on the other hand, the kingdom of Ravan is coming to an end. So it's not just a question of Ravan, but the whole kingdom that will come to an end. Your children are making effort to go to the land of Ram, and so you have to make full effort. Do not become thorns. Today's full Murli is about how to remove the thorns from inside us. You Brahmins, and everything for all of you depends on the Murli. What would you do if you did not receive the Murli? Don't think that only one person can give knowledge. Anyone can give knowledge when they have been trained. So in the smaller centers, obviously, you may not have a permanent sister or brother to look after or read the Murli. So it could be the older students, the more experienced students who can read Murli and share it to others. Very good pictures have been made with which you can explain to others. You can place these main pictures in your shop and benefit many others. Together with making that deal, also make this deal. This is Baba's shop of the imperishable jewels of knowledge. What are Baba's centers? They are Baba's imperishable, Baba's shop of the imperishable jewels of knowledge. Baba is not forbidding you to build houses, etc. You can build them. The money would otherwise just turn to dust. So invest it in building new houses, etc. for yourself. You may build them. The money would otherwise turn to dust. Why should you not build a house and stay comfortably instead? You should use the money you have. Many brothers and sisters used to ask Dadi Prakashmani how to spend their money, how to save, etc., how to use the money they've earned. So Dadi would always say, split it into 4 portions, one for your home, your responsibilities, one for Madhaban, one for emergencies in the future, etc., etc. Build houses and also keep some of those amounts for you yourself to eat from and also to donate. When the king of Kashmir died, he donated all his private property to the Arya Samaj. They do everything for their own religion. But here it's not like that. That there are only people of one religion living here. It's God's home and it's open for all souls. All our children, and there's no question of making donations, etc. So we don't accept donations from unknown people. It's all the money that has been offered by Baba's children. There in the world there are limited donations, but Baba gives us the sovereignty of the world. According to the Brahman, the people of Bharat will claim their fortune of the kingdom. Business people on the path of devotion definitely put something aside for a religious cause, and they receive a limited reward for that in their next birth. I have now come here directly. You've been giving indirectly on the path of devotion, but Baba has now come directly, and so you should offer it in Baba's task now. Baba doesn't want anything for himself. Does Baba need or want to build a house for himself? No, Brahma Baba too didn't want anything for himself. Everything that Baba built was all for the children. When Baba had built the rooms above the office, the reception area, the children had told Sakar Baba that now these new rooms have been built, why don't you shift? So Baba refused. He said, no, these are all for the children. Baba is not going to take anything for himself. Baba always remained in the old building, the original building of Pandav Bhavan, in his room. Baba says, I don't want anything. Does Shiv Baba need to build a home for himself? All of this is for you Brahmins. The wealthy and the poor all live together. So all of this is for you children. It is seen how someone who lives comfortably at their Lokik homes, and so all of those facilities have to be given here too. If someone has come from that kind of background, then they would be given such facilities in Madhuban too. This is why you are told to be hospitable to everyone. This is why you're told to be hospitable to everyone. If you don't have something, you can be given that. The Father loves you children so much. No one can have that much love for you as God gives you. You children are told so often to make effort, create different methods for others too. Just 3 square feet of land are needed for this, where you children can continue to explain. If an important person has a hall that they can rent out, then tell that person, we shall put the important necessary pictures up here and hold classes here for 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening and then leave. So we'll pay for the costs of running and maintaining the place, and your name will be glorified. You can tell the owner of these halls that. So initially we had very small centers, we couldn't have big halls for class, and so Baba's children used to rent out halls to go and serve the owners of such halls. If they can give the halls for free, that would be even better. So many will come and change from shells into diamonds. Acha, मीठे मीठे सिखिलते बच्चों प्रति माता पिता बाप दादा का याद प्यार, गुड मॉर्निंग और नमस्ते. रूहानी बाप की रूहानी बच्चों को नमस्ते. हम रूहानी बच्चों की रूहानी बाप दादा को याद प्यार, गुड मॉर्निंग और नमस्ते. The essence for dharana. 1. Do true imperishable business with the Eternal Father. Do true imperishable business with the Eternal Father. Together with that business, also give your time to this business. Apart from the Lokik business, your Lokik work, also give time to this spiritual business. Become a Ganges of knowledge and purify everyone. 2. The basis of Brahmin life is the Murli, which you must listen to and read to others with a lot of love. If you have any thorn inside you, remove it. Donate defects. The blessing. May you make your harsh sanskars gentle with the virtue of tolerance and become a jewel of contentment. May you make your harsh sanskars gentle with the virtue of tolerance and become a jewel of contentment. Those who have the virtue of tolerance are always seen to be content. Those who are the embodiments of contentment also make others content. To be content means to achieve success. Those who are tolerant, they make harsh sanskars and difficult tasks gentle and easy with their power of tolerance. So again, to be content means to achieve success. Those who are tolerant make harsh sanskars and difficult tasks gentle and easy with their power of tolerance. Their faces are seen as embodiments of virtues. Only they can stay using the shield of the drama. So the main aspect is the power of tolerance. Only they can stay stable using the shield of the drama. The slogan: those who cannot be transformed with words can be transformed with pure vibrations. Keep a pure attitude, pure vibrations for that soul, and you can transform them. Acha, Om Shanti.